Welcome to Healthcare Workshop. I'm Dr. William, and today we're diving into something that's been quietly stealing the independence of millions of people over 60. But here's the thing. Most of them have no idea it's happening, and even fewer know they can stop it. You know that feeling when you're reaching for something on a high shelf, or you're walking up a flight of stairs, and your legs just don't respond the way they used to? You might brush it off as just getting older. But what if I told you that what you're experiencing has a name, it's preventable, and most importantly, it's reversible? What if I told you that the solution might be sitting right in your kitchen, waiting to be part of your breakfast tomorrow morning? Let me paint you a picture. Imagine your body as a sophisticated machine. Every single day, your muscles are in a constant state of turnover. Some fibers are breaking down, and some are being built back up. When you're younger, the building part outpaces the breakdown. You have this natural advantage built into your physiology. But after you turn 60, something shifts. The breakdown starts winning. Your muscles start shrinking year after year. This process is called sarcopenia, and it's one of the most underestimated threats to your quality of life. Now, here's what most people don't understand. This isn't just about vanity or looking a certain way. Your muscles are far more than something that moves your body around. They're an incredibly complex organ system. They regulate your blood sugar levels. They're like sponges that absorb glucose and prevent it from spiking into your bloodstream. Your muscles protect your joints by providing structural support. They store essential amino acids that your body can call upon for healing and repair. And perhaps most fascinating, your muscles communicate with your brain through special compounds called myokines. These are like chemical messengers that influence your mood, your mental clarity, and even your motivation. When your muscles start disappearing, all of this falls apart. Your blood sugar control gets worse, your joints become more vulnerable to injury, your healing capacity diminishes, and those myokines stop sending positive signals to your brain. This cascading effect is why sarcopenia isn't just a physical problem. It's a gateway to frailty, falls, fractures, and ultimately a loss of independence. Research shows that after 60, people can lose up to 1% of their muscle mass every single year. That doesn't sound like much until you do the math. Over a decade, that's potentially 10% gone. Over 2 decades, a significant chunk of your physical capacity has vanished. But here's where I want to flip the script entirely. The exciting news, the news that gets me out of bed in the morning, is that this process can be reversed. Not slowed down, not stabilized, reversed. And it doesn't require extreme measures. It doesn't require you to become a gym rat or take questionable supplements. It comes down to understanding a fundamental principle of human physiology and then applying it strategically to your daily routine. This principle centers on something called muscle protein synthesis. Think of your muscles like a bank account. Every single night while you're sleeping, your body is making withdrawals. It's pulling protein from your muscles to fuel essential functions like immune defense, hormone production, and cellular maintenance. By the time you wake up in the morning, your account is depleted. Your muscles are essentially starving. Now here's the critical insight. The first thing you eat after waking up is like making your first deposit into this account. If you make a big deposit with the right currency, high-quality protein, specific amino acids, and supporting nutrients, your muscles go into building mode. But if you skip that deposit or make a small one with the wrong materials, your muscles stay in deficit mode. The difference between these two scenarios compounds over days, weeks, and months into either strength or weakness. The key player in this symphony is an amino acid called leucine. Leucine is like the ignition switch for muscle growth. When leucine levels spike in your bloodstream, they trigger a molecular pathway inside your muscle cells called mTOR. Think of mTOR as the foreman of a construction crew inside your cells. When this foreman gets activated, workers rush in and start laying bricks, building new muscle tissue. Without that activation signal, the crew stands idle no matter how many raw materials you provide. Here's what the research consistently shows about the leucine threshold in people over 60. Your muscles have become less sensitive to protein. Scientists call this anabolic resistance. It's like your muscle cells have turned down the volume on their sensitivity dial. So to get that foreman to pay attention, you need a sufficiently strong signal. Most research shows that you need about 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein in a single meal to cross that threshold. And the protein needs to be rich in leucine. This is crucial. Not all proteins are created equal. 3 whole eggs contain roughly 21 grams of protein and about 2.7 grams of leucine. A serving of Greek yogurt has maybe 18 to 20 grams of protein. Cottage cheese delivers 28 grams. But here's the thing, timing matters as much as quality. All of this protein hitting your system at breakfast, all within the first 1 to 2 hours of waking up, creates a synchronized signal that your muscles cannot ignore. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention in these conversations: insulin and blood sugar. Most people think about insulin only in the context of diabetes management, but I want you to think about insulin as one of the most powerful levers that determines whether your muscles are fed or starved. The relationship is nuanced, and understanding it is critical for fighting sarcopenia. Here's what happens inside your body when you start your day with what most people call a healthy breakfast. You have a bowl of cereal, even the whole grain kind, or maybe a couple pieces of whole wheat toast with jam, or a glass of fresh orange juice. What actually happens is this. Your blood sugar rises sharply and quickly. Your pancreas senses the spike and pumps out insulin. Insulin's job is to clear that sugar from your bloodstream and get it into your cells. On the surface, that sounds like it's working, but here's where it gets complicated. High insulin does multiple things simultaneously. Yes, it pushes sugar into your cells, but it also signals your body to stop burning fat. It also suppresses something called protein breakdown, which sounds good, but it actually interferes with the normal process of muscle remodeling and adaptation. And perhaps most importantly, high insulin makes your muscle tissue less responsive to growth signals. It's like your muscles are wearing earplugs and can't hear the signals telling them to grow. Over time, especially after 60, your cells start ignoring insulin signals less effectively. This is called insulin resistance, and it's a vicious cycle. Your pancreas responds by pumping out even more insulin to try to clear the sugar. Your cells respond by becoming even more resistant. This metabolic environment is hostile to muscle growth. It's the exact opposite of what your body needs to rebuild strength. Think of it this way. Imagine insulin as a traffic director on a busy highway. When the traffic, the blood sugar, is heavy, the director is frantically waving it into the fat storage lane to prevent chaos. But when that director is constantly on duty, always managing heavy sugar traffic from meals throughout the day, your muscles sit idle on the side of the road, waiting for their turn. The building blocks never make it to muscle tissue. They get directed straight to fat storage. The antidote to this problem is remarkably straightforward. Instead of starting your day with a blood sugar spike, you start it with protein and healthy fats. When you eat protein and fat, your blood sugar rises gradually and gently. Your insulin response is measured and controlled. Your muscle cells stay sensitive and responsive. Your body isn't constantly in fat storage mode. Instead, it's primed for muscle building. Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine two different people, both 65 years old. One person wakes up and has a bowl of oatmeal with a glass of orange juice and a piece of toast. The other person has 2 scrambled eggs cooked in butter with a handful of spinach, a slice of avocado, and a cup of green tea. Both people have roughly the same calories. But the metabolic consequences are completely different. The first person experiences a massive insulin spike. Their blood sugar shoots up and then crashes. Their muscles remain understimulated. Their body spends the morning in fat storage mode. The second person experiences a gentle, sustained rise in blood sugar and a controlled insulin response. Their muscles are bathed in amino acids. Their insulin sensitivity remains high. Their body is in muscle-building mode. This isn't theoretical. There's published research in the Journal of Diabetes Care that directly tested this. Older adults who ate a high-protein, lower-carbohydrate breakfast maintained significantly better insulin sensitivity throughout the entire day and experienced greater muscle protein synthesis compared to those who started with refined carbs. Just from changing breakfast, the hormonal tone you set in the morning echoes through your entire day. Now let's talk about something that's been emerging as absolutely critical to understanding muscle loss and muscle building after 60. Inflammation. Most people think inflammation only matters if you have arthritis or some kind of acute injury, but the reality is far more insidious. Low-grade chronic inflammation is silently eroding your muscle tissue every single day after 60. It's one of the hidden accelerators of sarcopenia that nobody talks about. Here's the mechanism. When inflammation levels are elevated in your body, your immune system releases signaling molecules called cytokines. In excess, these cytokines interfere with your muscle's ability to respond to growth signals. It's like trying to build a house in the middle of a hurricane. The construction crew might be ready with all their tools and materials, but the constant wind and rain make progress nearly impossible. Your muscles are trying to grow, the amino acids are present, the mechanical signals from exercise are there, but the inflammatory environment is dampening the whole process. This is where the breakfast conversation becomes even more strategic. Certain foods deliver profound anti-inflammatory benefits that directly support muscle health and recovery. One of the most researched is omega-3 fatty acids. These aren't just good for your heart, though they are. They actively improve your muscle sensitivity to anabolic signals. They make your muscle tissue more receptive and responsive to protein and growth factors. Where do you find omega-3s? Fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel are loaded with them. Plant sources like chia seeds, flax seeds, and walnuts contain alpha-linolenic acid, which your body can convert. The beauty is that incorporating just 2 to 3 servings of omega-3 rich foods into your weekly breakfast rotation can measurably improve your muscles' responsiveness. But omega-3s are just one piece of the anti-inflammatory puzzle. There are also polyphenols, which are plant compounds that act like antioxidants inside your cells. Blueberries are packed with them. Pomegranate seeds contain them. Green tea is loaded with them. When you consume these foods, you're flooding your system with molecules that neutralize free radicals and calm the inflammatory environment. Research published in Frontiers in Physiology showed that polyphenols don't just reduce inflammation, they actually stimulate something called PGC1-alpha, which is a master regulator of mitochondrial biogenesis. That's right, they're making new power plants inside your muscle cells. And then there are spices. Turmeric contains curcumin, one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatory compounds known to science. A study published in Nutrients in 2019 found that curcumin supplementation improved muscle recovery and reduced exercise-induced inflammation in older adults. You can literally add turmeric to your morning eggs or blend it into a protein smoothie with black pepper for enhanced absorption. Let me paint another picture for you. Think of your muscle fibers like ropes. Over time, inflammation frays those ropes, creates small tears. Oxidative stress damages them, but anti-inflammatory nutrients act like protective coatings, keeping the ropes intact and resilient. Without that coating, even the strongest protein input cannot stop the ropes from slowly unraveling. This is why a breakfast that combines protein with omega-3s, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory spices is so phenomenally powerful. I want to move into something that absolutely blows people's minds when they first learn about it: mitochondria. Your leg strength, your endurance, your ability to walk upstairs without exhaustion. All of this ultimately comes down to the health of your mitochondria. These are microscopic structures inside your muscle cells, and they're essentially power plants. They produce ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which is the energy currency that powers every single muscle contraction. When mitochondria are plentiful and functioning efficiently, your legs feel springy and strong. You bound up stairs. You carry groceries without fatigue. When mitochondria are sluggish and few in number, even walking across the room feels like wading through mud. This is a major component of why people over 60 often experience fatigue and difficulty with simple activities. Here's the thing that most people don't realize. After 60, mitochondrial function naturally declines. You have fewer power plants per cell. The ones you have are less efficient. They're burning fuel less effectively. The result is that classic sarcopenia symptom: fatigue, slower walking speed, difficulty climbing stairs. Everything takes more effort because you literally have less cellular energy available. But here's the breakthrough. Recent research shows that nutrition, particularly what you eat at breakfast, can directly stimulate something called mitochondrial biogenesis. That's the creation of new mitochondria. Your body can literally build new power plants. When you consume polyphenol-rich foods, when you get high-quality protein with leucine, when you support your metabolism with the right nutrients, you're sending signals to your cells that say, build new mitochondria. A fascinating study from the University of Copenhagen found that older adults who consumed polyphenol-rich foods and paired them with light resistance exercise had significantly improved mitochondrial density in their leg muscles after just a few weeks. Weeks, not months. That translated into more endurance, faster walking speed, and greater resistance to fatigue. These were people over 60 who felt noticeably stronger because they had more cellular power plants. So practically, what does this look like? A breakfast that supports mitochondrial biogenesis might be a spinach and blueberry protein smoothie, You blend whey or plant-based protein with fresh spinach, a cup of blueberries, and green tea as your liquid base. Add a teaspoon of chia seeds or flax for omega-3 support. In one meal, you're delivering high-quality protein with leucine, polyphenols, antioxidants, and omega-3s. You're simultaneously triggering muscle protein synthesis and mitochondrial biogenesis. Another option is a pomegranate and walnut yogurt bowl. Pomegranate seeds contain elagitannins, a polyphenol that gets metabolized into urolithin A in your gut, and urolithin A directly stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis. Pair that with walnuts and you're adding additional polyphenols plus healthy fats that slow your blood sugar rise. Now I want to introduce a concept that's surprisingly overlooked in most muscle building advice: timing. Not just the timing of your breakfast, though that's important. I'm talking about the broader circadian context. Your body runs on a 24-hour internal clock that's orchestrated by light, sleep, and food intake. This clock governs your hormones, your digestion, your metabolism, and your nutrient absorption. In the morning, cortisol rises naturally to wake you up and mobilize energy. This is the perfect metabolic window for nutrient absorption and muscle activation. When you eat protein-rich, nutrient-dense food during this window, you're riding a natural hormonal wave that amplifies muscle protein synthesis and stabilizes blood sugar for hours. But here's what happens if you skip breakfast or delay your protein until afternoon. You miss that peak window. Your muscles remain understimulated for most of the day. You never catch that cortisol wave. It's like showing up to plant seeds after sunset. They barely take root. The research here is quite clear. A study published in the Journal of Physiology found that participants who ate a high-protein breakfast maintained significantly higher levels of muscle protein synthesis throughout the entire day compared to those who ate the same amount of protein at dinner. Same amount of protein, different timing, different outcomes. The timing itself made the difference. There's also a fascinating aspect of circadian rhythm biology related to insulin sensitivity. Insulin works more efficiently in the morning. Your cells are more receptive. Your tissues are more responsive. That same meal that effectively feeds your muscles at 8 in the morning is more likely to get stored as fat at 8 at night. Your body's utilization is completely different depending on timing. This means the practical strategy is clear. You want to eat within 1 to 2 hours of waking. This aligns with your natural cortisol rhythm and ensures your muscles get amino acids when they're most primed to use them. You want to front load your protein. Aim for that 25 to 30 grams at breakfast, then distribute the rest of your daily protein fairly evenly throughout the day. Avoid the incredibly common pattern of a light breakfast and a heavy dinner. It works directly against your biology. Let me give you a practical example to make this concrete. You wake up at 7 in the morning. By 7:30, you have that protein smoothie with whey, spinach, and blueberries. By noon, you have a salad with salmon, nuts, and olive oil dressing. By 6 in the evening, a lighter dinner with lean protein and vegetables. That temporal distribution feeds your muscles when they're most sensitive and avoids overwhelming them late at night when that sensitivity has declined. Now here's where everything we've talked about comes together. Food alone is powerful. Exercise alone is powerful. But the real magic, the dramatic transformation that many people experience, happens when you combine the right nutrition with strategic movement. Think of it as two gears that must interlock. When they turn together, you create a force multiplier that builds strength in ways neither can achieve alone. Here's the physiology. When you eat a leucine-rich, protein-centered breakfast, you flood your bloodstream with amino acids. Those amino acids are the raw materials for muscle growth. They're like bricks on a construction site. But here's the critical part. Without mechanical tension from movement, those bricks just pile up. They're not directed into muscle tissue. But when you perform even light resistance exercise, bodyweight squats, step-ups, resistance band work, your muscles send a signal called mechanical tension. That signal acts like a construction permit, telling your body exactly where to direct those amino acids. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who consumed protein immediately after performing light resistance exercise doubled their rates of muscle protein synthesis compared to protein consumption alone. Doubled. And here's the beautiful part. The exercise didn't need to be extreme. 15 minutes of chair squats or stair climbing was sufficient to amplify the signal. Think of it this way. Protein is the bricks. Movement is the blueprint that tells your body where to place them. Without the blueprint, the bricks are wasted. With it, they become structural strength you can feel and use the very next day. So the practical application is straightforward. Eat your protein-rich breakfast, that 25 to 30 grams with leucine. Within 1 to 2 hours, move your legs deliberately. This could be as simple as standing up and sitting down from a chair 20 times. It could be climbing stairs for 5 minutes. It could be using resistance bands for your thighs. It could be a brisk 10 to 15-minute walk, which has the added benefit of regulating blood sugar and increasing blood flow to deliver those amino acids more efficiently. There's also something remarkable that happens at the neurological level. When you pair nourishment with movement, your muscle fibers release compounds called myokines. These are like chemical messengers that travel to your brain and influence your mood, your mental clarity, your motivation, and your emotional state. This is why many people report feeling noticeably sharper and more energized for the rest of the day after combining breakfast with movement. It's not just physical. There's a real neurological and emotional component. Let me give you 3 concrete breakfast and movement combinations you can implement tomorrow. Option 1, a spinach and egg omelet with smoked salmon. Then perform 2 sets of bodyweight squats and calf raises. Option 2, a whey protein and blueberry smoothie. Then take a brisk 10-minute walk followed by step-ups on a staircase. Option 3, a yogurt bowl with chia seeds, walnuts, and pomegranate. Then use resistance bands for leg extensions and hip abductions. The fundamental principle is this: you're giving your body the building blocks through nutrition, and you're telling your body where to put them through movement. Without movement, that nutrition is underutilized. Without nutrition, that exercise cannot fully repair and grow muscle. Together, they create a synergy that can begin restoring leg strength within a single day. That momentum builds over weeks and months into a body that feels younger, stronger, and more resilient. Let me bring everything together now and give you the complete picture. Sarcopenia, this age-related loss of muscle, is not an inevitable consequence of aging. Yes, it becomes statistically more common after 60, but the science is absolutely clear. You can begin reversing it in as little as 24 hours, and it starts with your first meal. Here's what we've established. Breakfast must deliver high-quality protein with at least 25 to 30 grams and sufficient leucine to activate muscle protein synthesis. Stabilizing insulin and blood sugar in the morning is essential because a protein-centered, low-glycemic breakfast keeps your muscles sensitive and primed instead of locked into fat storage mode. Anti-inflammatory nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and specific spices lower the background inflammation that interferes with muscle repair. Supporting your mitochondria, those power plants inside your muscle fibers, with polyphenols and nutrient-dense foods, fuels endurance and leg strength. Timing matters tremendously. Eating within 1 to 2 hours of waking and front-loading your protein takes advantage of your natural circadian rhythm and cortisol wave. And finally, pairing food with movement multiplies the effect because protein provides the bricks and movement directs where those bricks are built. Think about what this means for your actual life. It means stronger legs for climbing stairs without that burning sensation. It means carrying groceries without setting them down halfway across the house. It means traveling with confidence, whether that's hiking with family or simply walking through an airport without exhaustion. It means steadier blood sugar and better metabolism, reducing your risk for diabetes and unwanted weight gain. It means less fatigue and more resilience because your mitochondria are functioning optimally. And perhaps most importantly, it means protecting your independence so you can keep doing the activities you love well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. The most empowering part is that none of this requires prescription medication or complicated medical interventions. It comes down to daily choices, what you put on your plate first thing in the morning, and how you move your body afterward. Try just one change tomorrow morning. Maybe swap your usual cereal for a protein-rich omelet. Maybe follow your smoothie with 10 minutes of stair climbing. Pay attention to how your energy, your strength, and your mental focus feel by the end of the day. I think you'll be surprised. If you found this valuable and actionable, please like this video and subscribe to join thousands of others optimizing their health naturally. I share practical, science-based strategies like this every single day to help you protect your metabolism, your muscle mass, and your longevity. Remember this, aging is inevitable, but decline is not. Your breakfast can either feed sarcopenia or fight it. The choice is yours. Choose to fight. Choose strength. I'll see you in the next video.